Good day, it's JJ MMA. Today we are going to be talking about this stupid bald cunt right here, and the smoothness of his brain, how that works, how it works, how all of his brain chemistry, just how stupid is Dana White, and just how hypocritical is he. He used to call Bryce Mitchell, Tito Ortiz, Yuri Prohaska, all these fighters, he's called them stupid. He's called all these fighters stupid, and just how much of a hypocrite is he? Because if you look at his reaction to the White House Correspondent's dinner shooting, you will understand just how stupid he is. What does he expect us to see him as? Just this badass guy with like unlimited aura? Come on, guys. I sell holy shit moments for a living. You think I would be fazed by a life or death situation, like a mass shooting possibly happening at the White House? You guys don't think I'm just gonna stand there with my arms out like this, hoping to be unscathed? Daring a shooter to shoot me in the back of my shiny bald head? Come on, guys. What? We only discuss shootings on Tuesday. All right, anyways, yeah, so this is what we're going to discuss. This is the main topic of discussion, as well as how does he actually act during the shooting. And yeah, some of Moist Critical's comments about him that are really starting to correlate and have been very, very true about how Dana White conducts himself, how Dana White takes care of the UFC, Dana White's role as the UFC CEO overall. And let's start with this video. Baldy, take it away. What do you think about the White House Correspondents' dinner shooting? And what did you think? What was going through your mind while you were experiencing it?
Started getting noisy. They was getting flipped over, guys running in with guns, and they were screaming, "Get down!" I didn't get down. It was fucking awesome. I literally took every minute of it.
Bro, come on. Oh my gosh. Oh, this guy. So he says, it was fucking awesome. I took literally every minute of it in. It was a pretty crazy, unique experience. Just what a reaction to a life or death situation. The normal people in the White House there at the time, they were getting down on the tables, making sure to protect themselves so they could get back home to their families. Normal, regular human instincts. And Dana White over here, Mr. Badass. We got Baldy Smoothbrain over here. When a shooting's going on, when he hears shots, what he's just gonna do is he's just gonna stand there and hold his arms out and just pray that the shooter dares to shoot him, because that the bullet's gonna come reflecting off his bald head like a boomerang. It's gonna come right back at the shooter and shoot himself in the head, just because of the aura shield that Dana White has surrounding him, just the aura bubble that he reflects, just because he sells holy shit moments for a living. Come on, Dana Brown. Come on, kid. What? What's the question? Oh, Dana Brown? Come on, kid. All right, anyways. So let's see what else you have to say, Dana Brown. Dana Pink, based off of the color of his head. But anyways, we move on.
It was a pretty crazy, unique experience.
So you were on the aisle? What exactly did you see?
We were sitting right in front of the table.
Okay.
Right in front of where the president was.
Yes, and what exactly happened? So someone got tackled?
Yeah, and the president has been a close friend of his for a lot of his life. Way before the president ever considered running for election, running for president. And, in a situation where the president could have been shot, his close friend, President Trump is Dana White's close friend more than anything. So, a situation where his friend could have been killed, his life had been attempted on, he was just like, it was just so fucking awesome. It was just so fucking awesome watching this. You've seen other people's reactions. They walk out of this circumstance and they're crying. They're maybe reliving some bad trauma that they've had in the past. Whether they're acting or not. But a lot of people were affected by this, and a lot of people were, scared. And, Dana Brown right here, he's just soaking the moment in because he sells holy shit moments for a living. And, he's experienced shit like this before. He's been in the line of fire. If you want to be his friend, he'll be the best friend you've ever had. But if you want to be my enemy, if you want to be my enemy, I'll be the best enemy. I'm really good at that too. A lot of stutters there, but, we got out the sentence. We're working on that. But anyways, yeah, we move on from this. Basically, for the rest of the video, he just talks about where he was at when it happened. He was right in front of the president, all that stuff. We move on. We're going to look at where he actually was, and did Baldy live up to his word, during the shooting? Was he standing there with his arms out? And I know he didn't explicitly say that, but he makes it sound like, he was just the badass standing in the middle of the room, basically daring the shooter to shoot the president or shoot him, or unload the clip. He's just, Dana White just really shows how many wrinkles he has in his brain compared to guys like that he's criticized in the past, like Tito Ortiz, who's probably more smooth-brained than Dana, to be honest. And guys like Bryce Mitchell, and basically everybody else that he's called stupid. Yuri Prohaska recently, for not finishing the fight when Carl Solberg was on. I don't want to talk about it. All right, that struck me on the wrong note. But anyways, we got let's see how Dana reacted during the incident. I mean, just a deer in headlights. He just looks like there's nothing going on between the ears of Dana White. And you can see it on this blank facial expression of this egg. This organic Whole Foods egg right here, as a SWAT shooter was right behind him. This isn't no regular UFC event where there's fights happening, obviously big stakes, crazy knockouts happen, holy shit moments, as Dana likes to say. This is a Secret Service agent probably right behind him, and he's scoping out the area, looking for the shooter, making sure the area is safe. Whereas Dana's just blankly looking, and he's not taking cover. And I know some of these guys aren't taking cover too, because the event's the incident has kind of dimmed down. But Dana just looks absolutely blank, like a deer in headlights. And he looks. If I could take any expression away from this face, he looks more happy than concerned or scared or worried about his friend, as in the president. This is the smooth-brained activities that we are observing in Dana White's head right now. So let's let the video continue. I mean, I can't help but not point it out, but look at the back of Dana White's head here. I mean, you could just swipe, like, wow. A lot of stutters on this video today. We really got to work on that. But anyways, you could swipe a lot of credit cards through that, the fat in the back of his head there. There's a lot there. I mean, there's no wrinkles on his brain, but there may be wrinkles on the back of his neck. Some little, I mean, whoever that doctor was that Dana had, I guess he's back with the doctor. I guess he's back, taking the dietary plans and all the prescriptions that his doctor's been telling him, because man, he's really packing back on that weight. And I know he's 56, so it's rough to keep in shape at that age. But I mean, come on, Dana. I thought you sell holy shit moments for a living. I mean, come on. At least minimize the target range for yourself if you're gonna stand in the middle of the room during a shooting and pray that the shooter dares to even shoot the bullet at your bald, shiny dome. I mean, anyways, I'll get off that tangent and I'll let the video continue. I mean, wait a second. I didn't pause it at the right time. I mean, I was about to say this looks like a pretty worried. Yeah, I mean, if I were to take any emotion away from this face, this kind of looks like a worried face. He's moving faster than usual. Kind of looks like he's trying to get out of there. So, I mean, I don't really think that he was, absorbing the moment, like when it was actually happening, when the shots were still fired. Not fired, but when the event was still simmering down, like maybe 5 minutes after, maybe he started to take in the situation. But while it was still happening, while the heat of the moment was still going on, I think he was. I mean, as a normal person would. I don't think Dana White's this badass that with an aura shield around him that he describes himself to be, obviously. But I mean, yeah, he obviously looks worried here. This is a real human emotion. And he doesn't need to hide it or anything. We know Dana White. We know Dana's far from perfect.
Good shot back there.
Okay. All right. This shit right here is funny. The way that he puts his hand on his leg once he sees the camera coming, looks to the side, acts like it's not there, and then now he really starts to take in the moment when everything's really dimmed down. There's a few guys up here trying to, just guard the scene, and this is, if I were to estimate, this is probably 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes after the place was, the table up here was evacuated. And yeah, he's just sitting on top of the stool, taking in the scenery. He's not taking in the moment like while bullets are flying, like he's describing. He's describing himself as like this, almost like a medic in World War II, where he's just like running through the scene, just being a badass. Like I don't know what he's trying to get at here, or who he's what he's trying to describe himself as. I guess he's trying to be like it's almost like he wants to be worshipped or something. And it's this really weird behavior that we have from the president of the UFC here, and a guy that doesn't even pay attention to the fights. I mean, he pays attention to the fights, I guess, but he doesn't have any say in the matchmaking. He has no real important role with the UFC anymore, rather than the guy who has to go to press conferences and gives really short answers and seems to not give a fuck at all about the promotion, to be honest. He doesn't give a fuck about the UFC anymore, and the guys that do all the work, and the work that they do isn't very great either. But Mick Maynard and Hunter Campbell. Hunter Campbell, he's the head matchmaker, it seems like, and the guy who's negotiating the contracts for the UFC fighters. So I mean, this guy Dana White, he's more of a mascot for the UFC than anything. He's just the guy who's kind of taking the credit for all the work, even though it's really being done by Hunter Campbell and Mick Maynard behind the scenes. So I mean, yeah. Anyways, that's my tangent about him not being the real CEO of the UFC when it actually should be Hunter Campbell or Mick Maynard. Anyways, we move on from this. Now we're going to see what Moist Critical has to say about Dana White, because this is a very interesting thing for Moist Critical to talk about to me, because, Moist Critical, he did play UFC 5 like a long time ago. He had he had some viral clips on UFC 5, but, he's never really talked much about, the sport of MMA. And then he goes off on this tangent about Dana White and blasts Dana White for a lot of things. And I don't necessarily agree with all of it in the real video, ideologically. However, he does say a lot of true things about Dana White, and he does get the gist of why Dana White is a bad president for the UFC and why he's a bad person overall, too. So, let's get into it. Moist Critical, take it away.
I've been getting more and more into the UFC, and as such, I've started hating Dana White more and more. As you pay more attention to this sport, you unfortunately have to pay more attention to this fucking fungus. It is...
that is completely well said by Moist Critical right there, because, he is a fungus and a leech on the UFC at this point. Considering that, maybe the directions that he gives is to put on the AI slop promos that they put together. Like, for example, at the Adesanya Piper event, they had to put on a promo, and it was an AI slop commercial that they put together for UFC Seattle. And, when asked about it at the press conference by a reporter, he said, "Give me a fucking break. If we're going to use AI, kid, AI's coming, This is our holy shit moment. We're going to drain all the water out of the ocean with AI. I don't know if that's, actually how the AI works. But, if it is, then, Dana's really making a good image for himself here. But, anyways, yeah, I don't think that's how AI works. But we're going to move on from that whole AI topic. I'm not going to go on a tangent about that.
Sickening how underpaid the athletes are. Their starter contracts, that should be criminal.
Now, this is kind of what I disagree with. I do think that the UFC athletes are paid a little bit better than what we think they are. Just because how we see them living life, like how they portray themselves on Instagram. They live pretty decently lavish lifestyles. Even the guys that are unranked, like, Malcolm Wellmaker, after he quit his welding job to go to the UFC, he's got paid, it seems like he's been getting paid pretty decently, when you look at his Instagram posts. Guys like that, even unranked guys, they're still making pretty decent money. And I do think that the fighter pay has really improved. As, Mick Maynard and Hunter Campbell have taken over the contract negotiations. So, legally also, by the way, just in case you guys are wondering, there's legal documents that state that Dana White has nothing to do with matchmaking and nothing to do with, contract negotiations. So moving on, we're going to listen to this guy keep talking.
Dana White should be in handcuffs right now for that kind of shit. It's fucking disgusting. And it's something Sean O'Malley mentioned as well. Though Sean O'Malley seems perfectly content being financially cucked by Dana White. And the bonus is kind of just a band-aid for the problem of Dana White being too cheap. Dana Worm White.
Yeah, so he's just talking about the fighter pay here. I'm going to try to skip past this because that's not the point that I'm getting at. Or that's not the point that he gets at.
It's just a factory of zero IQ ideas and even worse execution. I don't think Dana White has any respect at all for his wife. She had slapped Dana
All right, yeah, okay, this is some good stuff that Moist Critical is going to get into here.
White, and then he responded by slapping her multiple times. Also now just said publicly about what he made his wife do in regards to the birth of his child to compensate his schedule.
The due date was the Chuck Liddell fight. Oh, Lord. And I said to the doctor, this ain't going to work. So we scheduled a C-section to take him early.
He jeopardized the
Yeah, so there you go. So he jeopardized, as Moist Critical was about to say, he jeopardized the birth of his son and the health of his son, and he jeopardized the life of his son, and I don't know how it works, probably the life of his wife as well. And yeah, just so he could go to the Chuck Liddell fight, and Chuck Liddell, I think he was fighting either Randy Couture or Tito Ortiz. I don't really know, but on the Saturday that Chuck Liddell was fighting, he had to go to it, so he made the birth of his son be made at an earlier date, and he made a C-section happen, an unnatural C-section that jeopardized the birth of his son. This gets into the logistics of why Dana White is smooth-brained and a bad person, and I know he has a lot of money and he's smart in business ways, I guess, but he's very smooth-brained when it comes to the real world, and street stupid. He's not. I don't know. I don't know if that's it's just a term to say street smart. But if I were to say somebody's street stupid, I would say Dana White is street stupid. If that makes any sense. I know that might sound corny or cliche, but that's a good description for Dana White's brain and how it seems to be operating. Especially when you have him saying stuff like, "Oh, it was fucking awesome. I literally took every minute of it in. It was a pretty crazy, unique experience." At a moment where his life and many others' lives around him were threatened. I mean, just look at this bald fuck. I mean, there's absolutely nothing going on between the ears. You look back right here. You can't really see his face clearly, but the way that he looks on the scene of the shooting, and not the shooting, but the room that he was in during the shooting. I mean, it's just like the guy's got nothing going on between the ears, and he's not a good representation of the UFC. And yeah, I mean, it's not good at this moment. I mean, obviously he did a good job, before the McGregor era, in the McGregor era of, promoting the UFC and getting it up to the point at where it was at. And then, I mean, ever since I feel like 2020, or ever since, John Jones disappeared and then came back, and, he had to glaze somebody in the sport because Ngannou went away. And, he started glazing John Jones. Everything since, that, the 2021, 2022 type of era, Dana White's just very much, he's got washed as a promoter. You light my fire, I feel alive with you, baby. The washed anthem, play it for Dana White. I mean, I just don't think that he should be, it's not good for the UFC for him to be the CEO of the UFC anymore. Let somebody more professional, like a McMahon, like a Hunter Campbell, take over. I would prefer McMahon personally, but it's probably going to be Hunter Campbell the way that's looking. Those are some of my opinions on Dana White. I could have more, but that's all we're going to say for this video. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Goodbye.